All right, welcome. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on SAP BRIM and walk through a process that is absolutely fundamental, creating a subscription order. If you've ever wondered how the world's biggest companies manage millions, and I mean millions of subscriptions on the back end, from the initial sale all the way to the bill, well, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
So, to really get why this all matters, we have to look at the big picture. Businesses everywhere are going through a massive revolution. They're shifting away from selling you something once to building an ongoing subscription relationship. This quote just nails it, and it's exactly why systems like SAP BRIM, which are literally built for this new subscription economy, are so incredibly important to understand.
This whole journey has to start somewhere, and it starts with a component called Subscription Order Management, or SOM for short. Just think of it as the front door for any subscription business. It's the place where you define everything you're selling, you capture the customer's order, and you basically lay all the groundwork for that long-term agreement. It is, without a doubt, the official start of the customer relationship. Now, before you can even think about placing an order, the system needs a rock-solid foundation, right? You can't build a house without walls, and you absolutely cannot create a subscription order without three key building blocks. In the SAP world, we call these master data objects. Let's break down each one. First up, we have the business partner. This is the who, and it's so much more than just a name and an address. It's a super detailed profile of your customer. But here's the critical piece. You have to assign it the contract partner role, which has the code MKK. This role, it's like the golden key that unlocks the ability for this customer to actually enter into a financial contract inside SAP. It's non-negotiable. Second is the contract account. So if the business partner is the who, this is the how, specifically how the money gets handled. It's the central hub for all the financial rules. How are they billed? What are their payment terms? What happens if they pay late? It's all controlled right here. And what's cool is a single customer can have multiple contract accounts, which gives a business a ton of flexibility. Maybe one for a personal plan and a totally separate one for a business account. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, the subscription product. This is the what. It's the actual service or product the customer is buying. Now, inside SAP, it's set up kind of like any other product, but it's packed with all these special subscription rules. Things like the contract length, renewal terms, how often the bill goes out. You get the idea. The whole rulebook for the service lives here. So let's just do a quick recap of that foundation. You need the who. That's our business partner. You need the how, the contract account to handle the financials. And you need the what, the subscription product they're buying. It's only when these three pillars are set up and linked together that the system is ready to even think about processing an order. Okay, foundation is set. Everything's in place. Now for the main event, actually placing the order. This is usually done in a really clean, modern interface, like the SAP Fiori app called Manage Subscription Orders, and it follows a very clear, very logical sequence of steps. The process itself breaks down into 5 key steps. First, you pick the kind of transaction you're doing. The standard one is called PRVO. Second, you pop in the header data, which is mainly just identifying the customer. Third, you add the products to the order. Fourth, and this is a big one, you configure all the little details. And finally, step 5, you hit submit, which kicks off this incredible chain reaction in the background. Let's zoom in on step 4 for a second, because this is where that foundation we built really comes into play. First, you link the order to the right contract account for billing. But honestly, the most crucial part, especially if you're selling services based on usage, is assigning the technical resources. This is the unique ID for the service. Think of a SIM card number for a cell plan or a device ID for a streaming service. This link is what lets the system track consumption data and bill for it with absolute precision. Without it, consumption-based billing is just impossible. And then, the final click. The moment the order is submitted, something really profound happens behind the scenes. This isn't just about creating a sales record. The system automatically, instantly, creates a brand new, legally binding subscription contract. And that, right there, is the most important outcome of this whole process. This brings us to a super important distinction that you have to understand. The difference between the order you just placed and the contract that was just born. They might sound similar, but they are two totally separate things in the system, and they have very different jobs. Okay, here's the easiest way to think about it. The subscription order is like the receipt you get at the store. It's a one-time thing that just captures the moment of sale. Its entire purpose in life is to create the contract. The subscription contract, on the other hand, is the membership card. It's the living, breathing, long-term agreement that's going to govern the entire relationship. They're so different, in fact, they even have their own unique transaction types in the system. Right, because a subscription isn't a single event, is it? It's a relationship. It can last for months or even years. So the system is designed from the ground up to manage all the twists and turns that happen over the entire life of that contract. So, the obvious question is, what happens next month when that same customer calls up and wants to upgrade their plan or add a new feature? How does the system handle all the inevitable changes that come with any long-term customer relationship? Well, the contract is built to be flexible. Any change you can think of, an upgrade, a downgrade, an extension, is handled through a structured, formal process. And here's the really clever part. A change doesn't just overwrite the old information. Instead, it creates what's called a new time slice. This gives you a perfect, auditable history of the contract. You can go back and see exactly what the terms were on any given day in the past. It's like a time machine for your customer agreements. So, we've covered a lot of ground here, from the foundational data to placing the order and then watching that living contract come to life. So what's the one big idea you should walk away with? It's this. The whole SAP BRIM process is a beautifully structured journey. It's designed to transform a single, simple sales event, the order, into a dynamic, flexible, and manageable long-term customer contract. It's a system built not just to record a sale, but to actually nurture a customer relationship for its entire life. And that brings us right back to where we started, to that big picture revolution. We're moving to a world where basically every product can be sold as a service. And after seeing the level of detail it takes to manage just one subscription correctly, the real question is this: is your business ready for that complexity? Thanks for joining me.